So the Chiefs get the win last night, and there were plenty of politics on display at Arrowhead. I posted both of these on X last night and this morning. First, you had Patrick Mahomes' mother, Randy, go viral when she took this video, or somebody took this video of her, in a Chiefs sweatshirt with a MAGA hat on, and she said this.
Make America great again. Let's do it.
Not exactly Ric Flair, but, not too bad for Ms. Mahomes. And then you had James Winchester, long snapper. After the game, this picture is also up on X at Pete Mundo. On the field, after they beat the Bucs in overtime last night, in street clothes with a MAGA hat on in front of the big GEHA field at Arrowhead scoreboard. And then this morning, just in the last 20 minutes or so, Harrison Butker just put this ad up. It was produced by his PAC. Upright PAC is the name of the new PAC that Chiefs kicker Harrison Butker has started. And it's a 2-minute ad. It features Josh Hawley about halfway through. And it is essentially an endorsement of Donald Trump on Election Day. Let's take a listen.
In America, faith has always brought us together. It's what inspires us, guides us, and comforts us in times of need. But under Kamala Harris and the radical Democrats, faith is under attack.
Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally.
Kamala Harris has repeatedly rebuked Christians, undermining the values that build our great nation.
Revealing there's been at least 400 attacks on Catholic churches since 2020.
And that's why we've called on the Biden administration to take action. Unfortunately, we've not seen a single federal prosecution.
They say our beliefs don't belong in public life. They mock and dismiss those of us who find strength in faith.
She does not believe in religious liberty for Catholics.
According to these senators, every practicing Catholic should quit the bench because they're extremists.
They spy on Catholics who dare attend Mass in their churches.
This is one of the most outrageous targetings. You have mobilized your division, the most powerful law enforcement division in the world, against traditionalist Catholics. Here, it gets worse. Your Richmond field office, they thought there was nothing wrong with this.
The FBI is going after Catholics.
But it doesn't have to be this way.
And God has now spared my life. It must have been God. Thank you.
We need a leader who will defend our values, not tear them down.
We're going to bring back religion into our country.
President Trump has stood up for religious freedom, protecting the right to pray, the right to worship, and the right to live our faith without fear. This November, vote to protect your faith. Vote to keep God in America. President Trump, standing with Christians, standing for America. Upright PAC is responsible for the content of this advertisement.
That is the ad that Harrison Butker, Chiefs kicker, just dropped on social media here in the last 30 minutes. Now, I just shared it on X. Christian writes back, Pete, someone needs to work with Butker on his PAC. Dropping an endorsement on Election Day, ain't it? Well, listen, for a guy who wants to get involved politically, I would say it's a step in the right direction for him. I'll just leave it at that. I don't know how many votes he was going to move in this election on this day anyway. I think it was more about continuing to lay the foundation for what he wants to do away from the field and what he wants to do in his post-playing days. Not that he's going anywhere. He's a young man. He's, 28, 29 years old. He's the best kicker in the NFL. But this is just step one for Harrison Butker in what is going to be, my guess, a long, long career in and around the political environment.
Simply trying to motivate his base. Right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's what this is about in large part, right? So, and the one thing that got brought up there in that ad that some of you are asking about on the text line is the Catholics being investigated by the FBI. This goes back to almost a year ago when the House Judiciary Committee released a report of a month-long investigation into a leaked internal FBI memo that discussed investigating Catholics as potential domestic terrorists. Now, this was down in the Richmond, Virginia FBI office, and there was an internal memo that got leaked. It did get rescinded. There was a separate investigation into a man who was amassing Molotov cocktails and making threats. In regard to that memo targeting Catholics, FBI Director Christopher Wray said employees have been admonished and their salaries may be affected. But still, it was a damning admission, and it was a leaked internal memo from the Richmond FBI office that showed that they were considering and looking into various Catholic churches for alleged involvement in domestic terrorism. And Josh Hawley was at the forefront of that conversation about 11 months ago. This was big news, at least in some news circles. Obviously, like NBC News wasn't talking about this, and ABC News and CNN and MSNBC, but it did get traction about a year ago. So that's what that's in reference to. And I went back and I found the Kansas City Star article about this, and it was such a hit piece, such a bunch of nonsense. They're like, Hawley's not even Catholic. Wait, so he can't be outraged by it? Hawley can't question this because he's not Catholic? You guys are missing the point, but it's par for the course for the Kansas City Star to downplay something like this and to, of course, defend the FBI. So that's what, because I know a lot of people were asking about this on the text line, that's what that reference was to in that ad from Harrison Butker's PAC. So the Chiefs, listen, and then you had Lamar Hunt Jr. over the weekend, too, out with Mark Alford, advocating for vote no on Amendment 3, which is the abortion amendment in Missouri. So the Chiefs are not just the epicenter of the sports universe right now. In many ways, they're the epicenter of where sports meets politics meets culture. And for those of you wondering, Taylor Swift, I'm sure you saw, was at the game last night. But that was not good for the Swifties. The Swifties, there were rumors flying around yesterday that Taylor Swift was going to appear in Philadelphia with Kamala Harris. Because she's from a suburb of Philadelphia, it's a swing state. The Swifties were begging Taylor Swift to not go to Arrowhead and instead go to Philadelphia to help Kamala Harris. And where was she last night? In the suite at Arrowhead. And I don't think she's put anything out today that I've seen suggesting either way. I mean, we all know she's endorsed Kamala Harris at this point, but that feels like a distant memory. It's been almost 2 months now, and you really haven't heard anything from her on that front. So I find that pretty interesting as well. Maybe some reading of the tea leaves there from Taylor Swift.